Welcome to Legion Outpost, and I'm glad you're here today. We are just going to take a moment and talk to AMG. Sometimes ago, I said I would like to have a conversation AMG, and this is not going to be anything fancy. This is just me saying, "Hey, AMG, we're out here, and we really want you to understand what we want when it comes to Legion." And so I've done surveys and I've talked to different people, and one of the things that is really important is that we want our game to not be wrecked. And at first, when AMG took over, I was worried that they were gonna ruin the game, but they didn't. They spent a couple years. They haven't. Took a little while to get used to things, and there's some imbalances and stuff, but we really do enjoy the game. We get worried from time to time when we see things, and the worlds are redone or different things are put on, and we understand. One of the things a lot of people were talking about is like a restart, like a 2.0. And I know you have a opportunity to do this when you go from soft plastic to hard plastics, and you're redoing all of that. One of the things as a rebel player, I'd like to see is an ability to take more leaders, like more heroes. I find that the 2 and 2 or 3 and 2, depending on the army composition that you use because of your battle force. I think it would just be, as a rebel player, that's kind of their strength, and maybe they could be changed on their army composition a bit while you're doing a remaking of from soft to hard plastic. Take the time to maybe, I don't want to say 2.0. I don't want a huge change in the rules, but hey, take the time to readjust the rules. Make it so that we can see some new things. Of course, I've got a whole video that I'm planning on what units we'd like. So this is not what I'm talking about here. This is more about, hey, AMG, here's some things that maybe you should consider while you're reproducing the from soft plastic to hard plastic and redoing it. And I know we're going to hear more about it at Mini Extravaganza, and I'm excited for that. But as a player, as a rebel player, first and foremost, army composition, I think that it's kind of limiting when outside of battle forces, all the army compositions are made the same. And I think that there's room to move with, you said you are going to make each army feel like its own army. And I know you're doing that with Empire, making it more suppressive. And I see that you're doing things with the droids. They have their real feel with the AI, and even the clones with the clone sharing. But the rebels have kind of just lost the difference. They're just like a bad version of everything else. And I'm not ranting here about rebels. It's not a rebel rant, because there's some things I'd like to see with all of the armies. For example, why not give us some more operatives for clones? Why not open the door to other armies? And now this is getting to Battle Force stuff, but I think you did a good job with the Battle Forces. I really do. I think the Battle Forces were a good leg up, and I really like certain ones more than others. But even the experimental droids, it gave droids a whole new life. And AMG, I'm glad you've done that. I was worried. I'll be honest. I was really worried when you took over, but I'm glad that you didn't ruin our game. And and I say our game is in us as the players. I didn't create it. I didn't. All I do is talk on it, on content and stuff. But there is some other small changes. Why not do some card releases? You have a bunch of cards that have changed. You have cards that you missed, you never put in, like Gar Saxon's Shield. Like, come on. I know we can print it. I do like that you've given us the right to print it. But let's do a big card release. Maybe this is the part of the 2.0. Maybe you're doing it. Well, it's not going to be 2.0 because our rules are technically 2.5 something. But the point is, maybe you're going to do a big rule upgrade. And if you are, here's some things that I'd like to see. Why not? Well, obviously, Battle Force arrangement. I think that we could use one or two more units on the table for everybody. So that means, like, now we see the max list 14 acts, and we see the average list 9 acts, and you see clones sitting around 8 acts. But why not rearrange the points in such a way that I'm not saying that we go to 1,000 points. Maybe that's what you want to do. because I don't want to see the game get really long. The game is long enough as it is, and I find my tendency to play a 500, even though I don't like the 500 point as much, I like the length of the 500 point game. And so what we don't want is to make the game longer, but we want to make the game feel bigger. And so one of the ways you can do that is add one or two extra units. So, shaving the core unit cost a little bit. If all the core units went down like 5 points, that might be enough to get a whole nother unit. Actually, it would probably be 10, but it would whole other unit in every army, which doesn't add a lot to the game. It adds one activation, which adds a little bit of time, but not a lot. And force, like as I said, the battle force organization, the general ones, those need things. So that's my big thing is how do we adjust it in such a way that we can get a little more out of it. Like, honestly, Rebel cores are horrible. I would love to be able to. I play Rebels and I love core, but the reality is our core suck, and so it'd be better to have more options. B1s, they got at least some cool little aspects to them. Now, so other than changing the way we build forces, that's a good way to start with the altar. Let's talk specifically about some things that we need. We need a more fleshed out fifth faction. Like, to be honestly, we have the 4 core factions which are really fleshed out. I can go into individual units I'd like to see, but that's a different video. But we have a 5th faction. And I know it's kind of like a half faction with a battle force. And you can't play it outside of the battle force, which kind of stinks. There could be so many battle forces for that. I could, like, it would be cool to see like a Hut crime force. It would be cool to see Boba Fett's little thing with his and have it heavily operative. Huts and Boba Fett could both be heavily operative based. It would be cool to see a little bit more for Pike and Black Sun to be filled out a little bit more. Like, if we're getting individual units, it'd be cool to see, the Savage come in. And I think that there's so much you could do with this without going like way wild. Like, you could add some, Tusken Raiders to go with Boba Fett and have the mercenaries feel like a more filled out army. And then have different battle forces. You can have a mercenary army, but I like what you're doing with the battle forces, but just to feel that out a little bit more would be nice to have a 5th faction that has more than just you can only play it in Shadow Collective. Have a couple more battle forces and maybe just have a one-off org for them that you can do some things with. I think that's a easy fix. Of course, there's always more units we want. Or we would take any units. Like that's the way we are as Star Wars things. You put out something new, we would like, oh, so good. But be careful of power creep. AMG, if I had to say anything, be careful of power creep. And you can't not play your new units right now because you have a bit of power creep. If I look at the commandos, they're powerful. We're talking about the clone commandos, the range troopers. They're powerful. You want them in your army. And you want the new stuff to be in because otherwise people aren't going to buy it. But at the same time, be careful to have the balance. Balance is key in this game. If I had to say one thing if you had to make one change, then it would just the cover rules. It's almost impossible to get an open shot now. I know you wanted to have some great cover, and it's great as a rebel player. I do like having cover. But at the same time, it's getting crazy. You need to tweak some of the older heroes. And when you do them hard plastic, I hope you redo the cards. It'd be a missed opportunity if you don't just tweak them a little bit. Han is desperately needing a white dice in his attack pool. 2 red and a white would make him so much more viable. I did a whole video on Han, so AMG, if you want to take a look at it, you can. I know you might not even ever look at this video, but I know you guys are into going on to social media and looking. And there are so many other things, but simply when you're modeling, in my Discord, we had a conversation about it. You're taking this time now to make hard plastic, soft plastic, make the models more sculptable, like more movable. Make their joints more free range, so you can move the arms up or down, and they look. But right now, it's kind of unnatural. There's no joints. You can't change them without really messing up and having to use gap fill. And I just think that if you have an opportunity, give us an opportunity to be creative. I know we all do 3D print stuff and we all do different things, but I don't 3D print models because I want official stuff. So give me an opportunity to sculpt them the way they are that I want. It's so hard to change, like especially the soft plastic, but so hard to change the way the things look. And I would love to have an easy way to do that. I'm not going to continue to rant about nothing. And the reality is here, AMG, thank you for not ruining our game, but also we're leaving our money in your hands, and I hope that you think and take pride in the fact that we don't have to spend our money with you. We do it because we love the game, and continue to put out a good product, but don't just waste our money. And I'm not saying that you have up to now, but I'm just saying keep up the good hard work. AMG, I was one of those people that was unsure of seeing all the changes in Legion, but you haven't ruined the game. There are things that could be tweaked, but keep it up. And think about the way we can redo forces, because the battle force, I think it needs to feel bigger. And I think that rebels need more identity. And I think, all the other armies seem to have a bit of an identity, but all the battle forces could be tweaked a bit in the way they build their army out. Like I'd love to see even more droids on the battlefield. And that's why I said maybe a slight point drop in core, all core, every single one of them. Clones too, because it sucks filling only 8 units. That's why I barely ever play the clones. So thank you for AMG. Maybe you've watched this, maybe you haven't. And if you're not AMG and you're watching this, hey, put down in the comments the things that you would like to see changed, and what units you would like to see, because I'm doing a video for AMG on the units, because they asked on their social media, what would you like to see come out? And so comment down below. If you comment down below, you like and you subscribe, you have an opportunity to win one of our prizes. And right now we're handing out alternate art cards. And so please take the time to do that. And till next time, may the force be with you.